Hello, my name is Aaron Hodges. I am lead developer for Immersion-Conversion, and allow me a couple of minutes or less to explain what is about to happen. This is a project called SuperSoldiers. This is a current status overview on February 4th, 2022. The purpose for this overview is to display the current status of the project in a virtual presentation, introducing content to a select group for analysis. And full disclaimer, this is not a demo, nor is it supposed to be complete in any way. So some brief context about the game is that it's a single player story mode, and the player's perspective is from the point of view of a super soldier who has been created within a secret, dumb, or deep underground military base. And the character is to be, constantly trying to break free from this remote controlling system installed within the main character's genetics. A secret group for secret means, using this form of remote control for a specific agenda to be revealed within the story progression. And that should be sufficient for now. Without further ado, let's get started. So from the main menu, we'll just go ahead and start from the beginning and just show the intro cinematic, the intro level, and also the starting point, possibly a quick walkthrough of the levels that are currently in development.
Edwards, this is Skinner. Go to the medbay and check in with Dr. X-Ray. Find out what the reason for the holdup is and prepare the subject for testing.
Yes, boss. X-ray. What's the status?
He was severely injured. It has taken some time, but we are nearly finished. Here, take a look. His backbone is still fractured, but it will be repaired soon. All that is left will be memory implantation. I will let you know when we are through.
Good. I will be in observation lab Alpha. This will be the subject's last chance to pass before termination.
He is nearly obsolete. His neurons don't, how do you say, grip to the receptors like they used to. I don't know how long these memories will last.
I don't know what went wrong. He was so close. We almost had him.
The bad news is we could not repair his abilities this time. Therefore, he must return to the pit to be retrained.
I will make sure he's ready. Come on, you bastard. You're my last chance. And so what we are currently at the first opportunity where the player will be able to play. And as you can see, the character isn't quite finished compared to the cinematics. That hasn't been done yet, so still in the process. I'm just going to give a quick walkthrough of the level just to show what has been created and what hasn't been. There's a lot of content still missing, but the objects are placed within the map and will be able to be placed, well, as we go along from here on out in development, not in gameplay, obviously. And we're just going through a brief walkthrough of the map, trying to do this real fast. So if you would like to skip ahead to the cinematic portion where the story further develops and gets to the next stage, you can. But this should be over in about 1 or 2 minutes tops, so it's not that long. Just trying to showcase some of the areas that have already been built. Now there's also going to be the secrets hidden into this where these doors will not automatically open. You'll have to find the keys and all that stuff, so forth. So it will be an exploration kind of thing where you have to collect objects and whatnot. And obviously there will be NPCs roaming around to fill in the map. There will be portions where you could sit in the chair and stare at the fire if you want to. But those things will be later developed in another video. For now, this is just to get things working so that we can go from start to finish. Typical RPG collection boxes, contents boxes. Be able to open these chests and gather key info, possibly take the books or read the books. And there's things hidden within the shadows as well, like the last part you just saw. Also, when you see these shadows, you're probably going to want to take your time. Otherwise, you could easily not see something and fall to your death. So, but just simply jump across. Nothing complicated right now. Again, there's a lot of empty space here that will be filled out later on just by placing all the boxes and crap and, stuff to fill it up and make it look not so empty. Kind of like things you can see down here, barrels and so forth, right? Adds a lot of texture to it, but for walkthrough sake, there's really no point in having all of this there. It's all time consuming. It'll be done later on. But let's go ahead and get to the ending of this level. So here got another cinematic. There's no dialogue yet, but here we have the player's main objective for this one is to locate their target misfit, where she's in some kind of trance state, talking to the main character, saying things like, I don't know, giving more updated information on what's happening. Do you actually really want to kill me? Yes or no? Okay. There will, out of these portals at this point, there will be enemies popping up that she is spawning in. In each of these 4 corners, the player will have to fight them. Yada yada yada. Kill all the 4 dudes, things, demons, whatever the fuck they end up being. Which will then take the character into the final phase where they actually talk to Misfit for the second time. She's generating some energy basically from something that'll be explained in the story that explodes on the character as she disappears, knocking the character unconscious and injuring the character, which kind of connects to the first point when you saw the character before in the medical lab, recovered by these ETs and sent back to the medical lab to get work done. And this is the prison cell within the deep underground military base, and the handler, the player's handler that you saw before, is now speaking to the main character, waking him up for the first time. After the explosion, that is, 3 days now later. And the player is being sent back to their prison cell. And what is about to load is the main level, where the player is actually going to take control for the first time, well, second time, I guess, and actually start playing the game, developing their character. So there'll be a whole list of things that the player can develop and build out within their character. Pretty much the standard, character progression, hand to hand, dual wield, single hand, spear, or projectile. And then there's these two nice little features that'll be added, the telepathic and telekinetic. One is for mind control and the other is for actual kinetic object control. So these things can be, worked on and built out progressively. Things like that. So it'll be an interesting experience because you're trapped in prison until the guards come and get you. You will not be able to exit the prison right away. You'll have to build up the telepathic control first. With the telepathic progression scale, the player will be able to essentially target and summon guards to do what you want, such as opening your doors. And those NPCs have yet to be placed. This is a quick speed walkthrough. All those things are still currently in development. So once out of your cell, you'll have free range to go around the prison within areas to complete tasks and quests, where you can meet with the other super soldiers that are in prison and basketball court and so forth, with security guard, Overwatch. If you cross over these lines, there will be alarm bells that go off. Those are not activated currently right now. So there's the D block. And there's a library. You can gain information, things like that, pull books off the shelf and read them. There's going to be a nice little feature here where this window's basically going to show the outside world up until a point where you get up to it, and it'll just be disappointing brick wall because you're underground. All right, so there'll be various super soldiers and whatnot, all the different kinds of experimentation that goes on in here. This is where they're locked up. You'll be able to use the guards to manipulate your way out of the prison cell into the main corridors, where you can venture into C block to meet other kinds of prisoners that are not so heavily secured as D block. And they have basically the same kind of system. You'll be able to walk around and talk to dudes who are in the prison cell, maybe who are out running around or sitting within the common areas. And of course, there will be, oops, go this way, a general population. So be able to access the shower room, and as you can see, there's some interesting signs here. If you take the time to read them, there's some comedic value to them. I'm not going to get into that here, such as the the instructions for your fire hose to pull out your hose, open the nozzle, and aim the base at the fire. We're not really talking about fire here. As some things go on in the shower room that are going to be, well, R-rated, and not for the purpose of this demo. There's probably going to be a lot of fights that break out in here. So we'll go into the cafeteria, where the player will be able to get some food and restore their energy. And there will also be conflicts with the prisoners in here. Now, if you're wondering what is actually going to happen, the point of these super soldiers is to, again, build up their skill base and train them in the fighting pit, which is located here on Death Row. And by the way, if your player decides to fight the guards or anything that results in a disciplinary action, you could find yourself in solitary confinement, trapped in one of these completely dark prison rooms where you will not be able to escape unless you're called out to the pit. Let's go ahead and venture onto the pit. The pit is going to be like a fighting arena where the player will be able to actually battle the other super soldiers, where they're being watched by the various scientists from their lab rooms and all the different people who are going to be watching you fight. There's going to be various things that happen within this arena, like lava spitting up at you, and the floors will start to separate and make it more difficult to just have a one-on-one battle within this arena. And if you lose, you'll basically be sent back to the med lab for repair, and then back into your prison cell. Now let's just showcase the rest of the map. This isn't necessarily going to be accessed by the player. This is just for eventual build out, where the player will eventually escape from these prison cells and have an attempt to locate their handler that you saw in the initial cinematic, where they'll be attempting to find their handler and search through their office for any key supplies. Here's now kind of an overview of what it would be like to watch down from the pit as a scientist. And let's mosey on this way. Various things to explore. This will happen later on, much later on, once the player has enough abilities to actually get themselves out of their prison cell. As you saw in the initial cinematic, here's the overview from the scientific perspective of all the different technologies they're working on. Some of these technologies are going to be advanced space traveling technologies, where they develop power systems, zero-point energy, and so forth, to create stargates, where they can do interplanetary space travel, and the player will eventually experience interplanetary space travel by going through this stargate system. So once you pass the pit level, if you will, lack of a better name for it, the player will be able to actually for their handler, and they will then enter the Stargate, travel from planet to planet, complete various missions once their abilities are leveled up quite a bit because most of this is going to be done in the pit. But your telepathic and telekinetic capabilities will help you access these other parts of these levels. And that is it for the demonstration right now. Hope you liked it. And any feedback you can send to Immersion-Conversion through the website, or you can contact me directly through Discord. Thank you for watching. See you next time.